Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have been hogging the spotlight lately, but we all know that can't hold for very long. After all, faithful remakes of a 15-year-old game is nothing compared to the exciting release that is Pokemon Legends Arceus. BDSP has been in the forefront of news outlets so much that it's been a little hard to keep up with Pokemon Legends news that's come out since then. But, alas, some very big news did arrive. And no, I'm not talking about the Shaman event. I talked about that already in a previous video during the lead up to BDSP's release. No, this time we're going to talk about the fact that someone has already played through Pokemon Legends, and they've expressed very vague thoughts on it. Bear in mind, there are no spoilers, as well as that this is their very biased opinion. I'll discuss a few things about their thoughts as we go through what their thoughts were. Nihilego Ku, known as the Pokemon Legends Riddler on Reddit, has supposedly played through the game. Normally, I wouldn't cover something like this on my channel, but they've been surprisingly accurate with the information they've given so far, so I'm willing to at least acknowledge the possibility they really have played through the game. That's not to say I personally think they're being honest, or that they actually have access to the game or info about it, but a lot of people do think that. So here's what he had to say. As you can see, he views the game as filler. He says it's an okay game that's really only worth passing the time between main entries. Let's talk about this for a sec. As we move forward, you'll notice this person is clearly a bigger fan of the old formula and multiplayer aspects of the main series. He loved Sword and Shield, and most likely doesn't identify with single-player experiences or exploration-based games. Again, this is assuming he actually has played it in the first place. Now, they said they were going to talk about the game and their thoughts on it a bit more, and here are the aforementioned thoughts. They said the game is grindy, hardcore, fresh at some points, and easy to get bored with. Once again, this person really must not identify with adventure games. If you're asking me, they've either never played anything other than Pokemon in their life, or they're just fucking with us. That's all. They go on to mention that it's just their own personal feelings, and not to take it too seriously. Again, probably because if they really are playing this game, they've probably never played anything other than mainline Pokemon games before, so they're acknowledging that they might not be the best gauge of how enjoyable Pokemon Legends is. They do, however, elaborate on what they felt was particularly fresh, that being the boss fights needing a variety of strategy to take down. If we are to assume they're telling the truth, that, at the very least, sounds promising. As for the grindy aspects, the only thing I could think of that would feel grindy in Legends has to be filling out the Pokédex. Trying to find all the things the Pokédex wants us to find out about Pokemon does seem time-consuming. I don't think it's meant to be a race to the finish type of ordeal, rather something we will fill out over a long span of time. But if they're playing the game just to finish it fast, I can see where it might not be satisfying. Now, they also mentioned the game to be hardcore. My take on this reflects difficulty. It's clear that Pokemon Legends is more of a survivalist type of game, so it makes sense for it to be pretty hard. After all, survival games usually are pretty difficult. For fans who are craving a challenge in their Pokemon experiences, this game definitely sounds like a great choice for you. I know that I, for one, will have fun with it. Moving on, Nihilego Ku also gave his ratings on all the Gen 8 titles. Sword and Shield received an 8 out of 10, BDSP a 5.5 out of 10, and Pokemon Legends Arceus a 7.5 out of 10. Not much to say on this, but figured you guys might care. Again, it is just one person's opinion. Afterwards, they went on to mention that we shouldn't compare Pokemon Legends to other mainline games, as it's strictly a single-player experience, and one that has features and actions we've never seen before in the mainline games. For someone like me, this sounds wonderful. I find the Pokemon formula to be quite stale and struggle to convince myself to get to the end of the games nowadays. But for someone like Nihilego, it makes sense that they don't care too much for a single player experience or exciting new mechanics and features since they loved Sword and Shield. The best part about what Nihilego Ku has to say though, comes from when they were asked how they would rate the story in Pokemon Legends. Their response was, multi-layered and complicated. And my goodness, we couldn't have asked for anything more, am I right? They even go on to say that the post-game story is a real treat as well. This is something I, and many of you out there as well, are very excited to hear. I've joked before about how I'd love to see a Nier Automata level story in Pokemon, but if we actually get something like what Nihilego is describing, then maybe I'll be satisfied. Maybe it really will be existential like Nier. Who am I kidding? It is worth noting that the post-game story that was mentioned is actually apparently unrelated to Arceus, which I find fascinating. I'm excited to see what Pokemon Legends holds in store. But what are your thoughts on this? Let me know down in the comments section right after you hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.